Hey, listeners, Catherine here. We will get to episode 76 in a moment, but before we get started, I am sure you're looking for more great audio shows to add to your queue right now, so I wanted to let you know about Grief, Gratitude, and Greatness, a podcast that explores the different ways we grieve, the gratitude that sustains us, and the greatness we discover along the way, one conversation at a time. Host Sarah Shawool engages in intimate, diverse, and compelling conversations with guests, dissolving stigma and normalizing discussions about grief, trauma, and mental health. Listen on your favorite pod player via iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and at griefgratitudegreatness.com. And now let's get this show started. Hello, and welcome to episode 76 of The Foretop. It's a roundtable discussion of today's hot-button topics in food and beverage. I'm your host, Catherine Cole. We are recording during the coronavirus quarantine, and we are all sitting in our closets and bedrooms, hooked up to our computers. This is going to be a great show. We're all maybe a little burnt out right now on hearing about mainstream online food purveyors like Amazon, Instacart, and Blue Apron. So today we thought we'd explore some really interesting pockets of the digital food economy that you may have never heard about. So let's meet our panelists. Julia Niiro is founder and CEO of Milk Run, a fresh, organic, locally sourced online food delivery program. Ted Farthing is owner and president of Fresh and Wild Specialty Foods, supplying rare ingredients to accomplished cooks and professional chefs. And returning to the foretop, we have Kelly Montoya, founder and CEO of Little Sue, a company that brings a kids' cooking school right to your kitchen. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thanks for having us. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Catherine.
All right, well, let's get going on our first topic. Home grocery delivery goes gaga. Julia Niiro, I imagine these past few weeks have been a total whirlwind for your business. We've read a lot in the news about nationwide grocery delivery services being overwhelmed with demand, but your company, Milk Run, operates on a different model, delivering grocery boxes that are assembled from local farms and artisan food purveyors. Can you start out by telling us a little bit about Milk Run, and then how has your business changed since the coronavirus quarantine began?
Yeah, so Milk Run, really simply, it started with kind of the recognition that it shouldn't be so hard to buy direct from local farmers, and it really shouldn't, be so hard for small farms to make a living, find access to customers, and then of course, how can they have some support doing their own direct delivery? You spend a lot of time driving around as a farmer. So that's kind of what I learned. And I built Milk Run to really help solve a few of those problems. One was, can we put local farmers online to help the modern consumer more easily access them? And then could we really also help them streamline and add support on last mile, or I like to say first mile, delivery for farms themselves to kind of help expand their ability to reach consumers who now want home delivery. LocalMilkrun.com is an online marketplace that does direct delivery of all locally grown and made goods. Formally, the numbers look like we've 10x'd in the last 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So it happened fast. We were doing about 200 deliveries a week, and now we're doing over 2,000 deliveries a week. We opened up for 4 days in order to meet that demand. We have hired 22 people out of the restaurant industry in order to meet that demand. And then also in the midst of all of this, we were working out of a smaller building in Northeast Portland that very quickly we grew out of. So we are now, I'm talking from our new warehouse and a new distribution space in Southeast Portland. So everything changed very quickly.
Oh my gosh, this is mind-blowing. I don't even know what to ask you first. I mean, I feel like most people, they come up with a business plan and it's like a 1-year, 5-year, 10-year model as to how to scale up to the degree that you've scaled up, and you've done it basically overnight.
Yeah, I mean, it's all still sinking in ways, and it did hit so fast. And there's a lot to it. One is, we have been building this business in over a 3-year period here in the Portland area, and it really started because kind of my core belief that in order for a company to really be able to successfully kind of create a model that really does what it says it's going to do for suppliers and delivering that level of value also to consumers, so they can know they're actually their money is being spent with the farms. That it's important for companies now, or even people who want to support these models or help them grow, scale, or fund them, to actually fund people who know and have been working within the space, who are experienced within the space, right? This is, food systems are about people who work within food systems and building teams around them. And I think Milk Run is a great example of that. We are a team of experienced operators and people who've worked within food for a long time, whether that's through restaurants or, our meat processing facility or even on the farm end. And so it's amazing to now see that we have the ability to prove what we can do as really business owners, and also kind of riding this wave of home delivery, which is innovative. Yeah. And so being able to say this is an innovative group of people, always has been, and now they're being recognized for that, I just love that about this moment. And the reason that Milk Run was able to meet this demand is because 22 people lost their jobs in the restaurant industry here in Portland. An incredibly overqualified group of people who know way more than I do, just about everything there is to know in food, showed up and said, I'm here to help. The food community is strong, as we all know, and I'm honestly still incredibly moved and just so incredibly deeply grateful that literally it was just a daisy chain of phone calls, and everybody just showed up and was willing to do the work.
And can you describe for us just the logistics of what does a delivery look like? Does it show up on your porch? How big is it? Is it in a box? How does that work?
Yeah, so there are two ways to buy from Milk Run right now. You go to localmilkrun.com and you can kind of buy the a la carte style. So just shop whenever you want. You pick your delivery day and you can see what items are going to be available based on when you want your delivery. And you can we have a $35 minimum now. So you just fill your cart, and about 2 days later, you'll get your delivery. Or you can sign up for our weekly delivery program. We heard from a lot of customers. So we took that request and we built the weekly delivery program where you just tell us what your budget is, how many people you're shopping for, kind of your dietary needs, and then your kind of gold basics staples to have delivered to your house every week, and we shop for you, and then voila, you're good. Show up every week. We partnered with Coleman. They were one of the first calls I made, and then the first money I really spent on any marketing on the custom Milk Run cooler, kind of the ode to the original Milkman porch box, which we cannot keep them in stock.
I love that. I love the idea of the old Milkman with the cooler on your porch.
Yes. So then, of course, this is another huge impact that the COVID-19 has had on the business. Was we really prided ourselves on the ability to do more of the closed loop recycling programs. People could leave their glass bottles. We would unpack all of the groceries into the cooler to really minimize any packaging. But now, to protect our drivers and our staff, we are full no contact delivery. So that means we moved to box format, kind of drop it, and no longer can actually take back with us anything at the moment.
Oh, that's kind of sad. So what are you hearing? You said you've been hearing from farmers that they're, really in a tough place with restaurant business obviously gone. I've been hearing the fishermen are really in a tough position. What are you hearing from the farmers and the producers?
Yeah, I mean, that still is probably the most kind of overwhelming thing to sit with. Anybody who really cares about food or is in that community, their stories are really endless right now. And I've been spending a lot of my time on the phone with our farms, especially right after things were hitting, right after the restaurant industry ran away and the schools shut down. I would just never forget, calling one of our farms and just simply, how's it going? How are things looking? And it hit me when she said, I'm walking around my field right now, really just thinking about how I'm going to cope with the fact that all of this is going to die in the fields this year. Mm-hmm. And literally I was able to say, we will buy everything in that field. We're putting in place our first contracts for our farms because I think, for them, they want to be like, okay, is this just a blip? No, we want to be a very secured long-term partner for these farms, especially now, and give them that security because literally, I can't say it enough. If you're a farm right now who has products to sell, then bring them. We are selling all of them. So to be able to do that, to be able to experience that ourselves at Rebel Meat Company, as a farmer, we sold to restaurants too. But Milk Run came in, and with now the way consumers are buying direct from farms, it offset everything that we were selling to restaurants and is actually growing. So it's a rare thing. We understand that. So we want to just really be able to to see if we can replicate that for as many farms as possible.
So Kelly and Ted, where do you get your groceries lately? Ted, I think I heard you drove down to a farm this past weekend to pick up some groceries.
We did. We drove down to Our Table Cooperative in Sherwood. It was a great experience. Called it in. Actually, we ordered online. They had the bag ready for us when we arrived, and thoughtful, high quality produce.
That's like the highlight of everyone's week now, right?
Oh my God.
Getting their food.
Well, and we've always, been people who went to the market almost every day, and I kind of love it. That's where I start to decompress from my day at Fresh and Wild. So starting to do weekly menu planning was a first for me.
Yeah, nice.
We are Milk Run fans and customers. And so, Julia's service has saved us. It saved me from myself. I became a flour hoarder and and never thought I would ever say that. But we've really loved the Milk Run service and just, building relationships with the milk runners themselves when they come, and they're, so caring and so thoughtful and so friendly. And I just love the, not just the service, but like, I think everyone is sort of in this place where we're just sort of like looking at each other with the same look on our faces, like, are you okay? I'm here for you. Are you good? And then everyone just kind of like goes on their way, and it just feels really personal, and really, really meaningful. But we are, like I say, we're getting our groceries delivered by Milk Run.
Nice.
Yeah.
Julia, which items are people seeking the most right now?
Eggs. Yes, we can't stock eggs, enough of them. We're selling maybe almost 2,000 a week. I mean, they're going in every order. I definitely think people are baking more. And of course, we're in April right now, so farms are just about to kick on. So that was an interesting time for all of this to hit, but we're very excited for when the season comes on, for all these new people to see, exactly what Oregon has to offer as far as local food goes this season. So eggs, yes, and then flour. Flour has just selling at an incredible rate.
Yeah, eggs are tough. I find like I have eggs and I'm just like, do I need to make this recipe right now? I mean, it calls for 4 eggs. I mean, I don't know. I need to stretch these. I'm not getting another Milk Run order till Wednesday. So it's really interesting times.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, Julia. This is just so impressive what you've been able to do. I can only hope that people will continue to use your service now that they know how great it is.
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate question for a lot of businesses like ours. Again, we've always really just prided ourselves on our retention rate. Our goal is to make customers happy, and if we can do that, then we can help make it easier for them to buy farms for the long term. And as a company, that's still what we're 100% committed to. We're very grateful that everybody's been really patient with us through the scaling process. I will say that. But I mean, again, I think this has just given us an opportunity to see the future quickly. But as a business, we are still who we always have been, and we have actually some pretty big goals over the next few months to launch into the Seattle market.
Well, let's transition to our next topic, which is shifting a food business that formerly catered to restaurants. Ted Farthing, your company, Fresh and Wild, is a wholesale purveyor of rare specialty foods to chefs. And you are in a major transition in which you're moving from supplying to restaurants to selling direct to consumers. How is that going? This must have all come very quickly for you.
We certainly are, and like what happened to Milk Run, it came on quite suddenly. We started in 1978. Fresh and Wild was shipping fresh mushrooms and wild mushrooms, fresh truffles to restaurants all over the country, places like Nobu and Four Seasons. And at one time, the White House, although I don't think the current White House uses a lot of exotic produce, but anyway, a lot of those places are closed now. And so although we do have restaurants ordering every day, we thought, we've got all of this wonderful produce here. We've tested some things on Amazon. Why not completely open the doors and ship direct to home cooks all over the country? So we've done just that.
And is this through Amazon or through your website?
We're doing both. We are open to the public. And with Amazon, it's a wonderful platform because the audience is so massive. And the challenge there is getting noticed amongst just literally millions of other items. But when you've got hard to find products that people are searching for, you can connect with new customers pretty quickly. And we gave Amazon a shot a couple years ago because of one extremely resourceful home cook. I don't know if you're familiar with Elote Cafe in New Mexico. They're a longtime customer. It's Chef Jeff Smedstead. And somebody bought his cookbook and called the restaurant, asked the chef where he bought his dried corn powder, which he uses for several recipes. And he gave her our number, and we shipped his very enthusiastic fan a bag of corn powder. And then people started calling here trying to make the Momofuku milk bar corn cookie, which also calls for corn powder. I know. It's amazing. And it's wildly popular. So we saw something happening here, and we tested corn powder on Amazon, and now we literally can't package it and ship it to the Amazon warehouses fast enough. It's
Okay, well, slow down. Corn powder. So this is not cornmeal. What is it?
right. It's finer. So corn powder starts with dried corn kernels, whole kernels. Dry them and grind them, and ours is a very finely ground powder. And that corn that corn cookie recipe is just enormously popular, and it's a perfect fit for that.
Wow. So tell us about some of your other kind of exotic uh, foodstuffs that people can now find online, sort of thanks to coronavirus. Like, what are some things that might really surprise us?
Well, we started gradually adding more products to Amazon. We started selling fresh truffles, which we fulfilled right out of our warehouse here in the Portland area. But black truffle salt, green bamboo rice, chestnut flour. It's gluten free, it's delicious. And then most recently, tomato powder, which has absolutely exploded. We never saw that coming. Um, but we also, so everything now beyond the Amazon platform, we've only got a dozen or so things there, but there's over 400 chef caliber ingredients here at our warehouse. Things like, and they just started finally, wild morels. We have fresh wild ramps. We freeze huckleberries at the peak of ripeness in the summer. Uh, kind of interesting pantry items like purple sticky rice. Again, the tomato powder has gone through the roof, but smoked salt. We sell fregola sarda, which is like a toasted couscous, red walnuts. We've got insanely delicious yuzu juice from Japan, calamansi vinegar. Catherine, one of your favorites, lemon agrumato too.
It's so good, the lemon agrumato. I use it all the time.
So that's where
Um,
in Italy, they crush the whole lemons with the olives together. So you get the beautiful aromatics of the Sicilian lemons. It's a wonderful product. So a lot of these things have been a chef's kind of secret ingredients over the years. And we just thought now is the time to start helping home cooks access chef caliber ingredients.
and are you having trouble with shipping times? Because we're hearing that Amazon is slowing shipping on non-essential products, but this is food that you're selling after all. So how are
Yeah,
your shipping
it's,
times?
for the most part, it's shipping on time, and then we ship out of our warehouse. Most of our orders go next day air. So we've got home cooks all over the country now calling us directly, or hitting the website, sending us an email, looking for these things, and a lot of it includes fresh produce. So we want to ship that overnight.
Yeah. So Kelly and Julia, from your businesses, are you hearing more people are really becoming more adventurous home cooks?
What's funny on social media, sourdough is sort of all the rage, which is a little complicated, right? 'Cause you have to make a starter and it's a process and there's fermentation. And so it can be intimidating. And so it's been really fun to watch people get into recipes like that because they have the time and, because they are wanting to dedicate sort of their time and attention to something that maybe they always wanted to do or maybe that they were intimidated by before. They're more focused on certainly experiencing things. And I feel like getting themselves into a position post COVID where we're all kind of focusing on what are the parts of our lives that we want to rush back to and what do we kind of want to leave behind. And I feel sort of like this this big shift happening. And certainly there's a lot of conversation around ideas like that. And I just feel so inspired and grateful that food is sort of at the center of all of this, because it's sort of, such a huge part of, I think, all of our missions, to feed people and to sort of, give people the tools to eat real food and cook real food and be together, sort of connected by food.
This really has been a privilege to be here for people at a time when they're reconnecting with their love of cooking, or even what that means. They're re-inspired, whether it's to learn or to bake, or to participate again in family traditions, but just being around the table together. Even the idea that people, seeds are selling out, right? People want to garden again. They want to create almost their own food security. Maybe not in this incredibly intentional way, with that being the thought, but that is what they're doing. And I think, when you do that, when you eat good food, when you cook, when you sit with your family, those are the moments that create completely lasting change in all of us. So I guess that's the piece that gives me hope that we won't forget that.
Absolutely. Ted, Kelly mentioned sourdough. People have their sourdough starters going. Is there anything you've noticed people are really digging into these past few weeks?
It's this tomato powder, which has just come out of nowhere.
Oh, I've got to get on this tip. Tell us about it.
So, yeah, it's the tomato powder, and it's come out of nowhere. And I actually had an Amazon customer ask me this morning. She said, I just bought this stuff. Now, what do I do with it? You can add a scoop to morning smoothies. It gives a smoothie, interesting tomato flavor with a nice nutritional boost. But you can also put it in breads or muffins, vegetable soups and stews, chili, anywhere you really want tomato flavor that you don't want to use fresh tomatoes. And a lot of people are using it to add color and flavor to fresh pasta. So you get this beautiful, vibrant red color. Other kind of noodles. You would mix it into the flour before you add the wet ingredients. About a half ounce or so for every pound of flour.
So this is like the new tomato paste.
I think so, and you could actually use it to make your own tomato paste if you don't have it. So it's pretty versatile, shelf stable. Again, we never saw that coming.
Does it seem like people are buying pounds at a time and stocking up, or do you feel like people are just more experimenting and trying new things every week?
We're seeing both. People used to buy one bag of, for example, green bamboo rice, and 2 people today ordered 6. So I think they're stuck in the pantry. But also experimenting. Now that wild ramps are available and morels are available, people want, it's something you might have ordered in a restaurant last year around this time. And if you want that at home, we want you to be able to have that in your house.
This is so great. I love this. I hate what's happening to restaurants, but I love that everyone's at home cooking and experimenting with new ingredients and ordering fresh, organic, local food from Julia. This is so fantastic.
Yeah, the Robs are really interesting. We have a stay-at-home produce box, which that was fun for us to be able to do, and we were kept putting sprouting broccoli or collard Robs in it, and we were flooded with emails of people saying, "Oh, I don't know what this is. I think it's bad, or it's got flowers. I don't know what to do with it." So that's great because we're inspired to make more content. Again, we're in April, so there are more specialty things going on. So we're getting a lot of questions about that, which, yeah, just an exciting opportunity to educate people.
Hey folks, time to take a quick break and learn about our amazing sponsor this week. During this time, we are still sheltering in place. I don't know about you, but the highlight of my week or every 2 weeks is getting out and going to the grocery store. And there is no better place to do this in the Portland area than Zupan's, where everything is just really beautifully curated. From the fresh produce to the meat and seafood to the prepared dishes and fresh baked goods. And I have to add, the wine selection is absolutely outstanding. So you don't have to venture out, though, to enjoy Zupan's. You can also use Zupan's personal shopping service. For example, you can order a ready-to-heat meal for 4 online and pick it up curbside. The menu rotates weekly and includes poke, roasted salmon, and delicious vegan options. Founded by John Zupan in 1975 and now run by his son Mike, Zupan's is Portland's family-owned grocery store with 3 locations to serve you in Portland and Lake Oswego. Visit zupans.com to sign up for the email list to receive exclusive deals and promotions. Thank you so much, Zupans, for sponsoring this episode. And now, back to the show. Okay, well, this is a great transition to our last segment, which is cooking class for the kids at home. Kelly Montoya, my 12-year-old, who was not interested in cooking before this quarantine, has been on a baking tear these past few weeks, and I'm sure I'm not alone. Your business, Little Sue, delivers monthly kits to kids to encourage cooking at home with the family. So I think you probably have a unique perspective on this. How have you seen the home cooking landscape change recently?
It's just been so inspiring. And, immediately when this all, started to make its way into the press and we started to see things closing down, we made one of our kits available as we adapted it actually as a digital download and just made it available to families. Because as a parent, when our school closed down, and I was thinking about what that meant for all of our time. And, I wanted to immediately step forward and serve families the best that I possibly could. And, we have been developing and experimenting with a curriculum that sort of it's teaching kids to cook. We're including curriculum that covers STEAM learning and language arts and social studies. So we've sort of created this, a broad perspective all through this food lens. And now it seems to be absolutely most appropriate. I mean, obviously parents want, to find ways to keep their kids away from screens from time to time, during all of this. And, being hands-on in the kitchen is something that everybody can sort of get involved in. I think what's been interesting is that, over the course of Little Sue's, lifespan, which, we launched in 2018, our idea or our thought process was always to sort of elevate this idea of kid friendly so that parents would want to participate in these activities with their kids. Because that's just a way, it was a way that I grew up and, my childhood was very much defined by the experiences that I had with my grandmother in the kitchen. And when I think back to those days and was in my own sort of, very, very hectic professional life, I definitely wanted that for my own family and my own daughter. But anyway, what's interesting about this time is that, or what we've heard, I think, over the last year is I will hear from parents I didn't know the difference between marmalade and preserves, and I didn't know, this and that. And I sort of secretly get excited because I'm right, that's awesome. You're learning as well. So while the kits are sort of visually designed to be appealing to kids, there's a lot of, handmade illustrations and things like that. They do appeal to adults as well. And so, we've got all of these people. I mean, everybody is now cooking. So kids, of course, need to know how to cook, but there are tons of adults who don't know how to cook and they are being forced to do it. And so, I just think there's an opportunity to really help all kinds of people. And it's really inspiring us in the way we're thinking about our content. We're thinking about ways to help parents sort of teach their kids different skills. We're, talking about ways to stretch ingredients. We're, publishing food science experiments and art projects and all kinds of things to support families, to create space for kids, but to do it in an educational way that's also fun. So it's been great from the standpoint of, we've been able to fill a role in all of this and help people. And certainly, being a direct to consumer business, we can do that very, very safely. Our teams are all working remotely and our packages are shipped every month. I just feel really fortunate to be able to step up and to fill a need, that we're seeing that families have.
Yeah, and I love that your business is so analog. I mean, people receive a box with a kitchen tool, a recipe. This is not, I feel like we've all seen lately these TikTok cooking videos or even on Instagram too, where it's here's a recipe in 5 seconds. And it's cut, 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 cut. And you kind of have a headache after you've seen it. And I love how this is just, roll up your sleeves, dig in, do it yourself. There's no screen involved unless you want to go to the Little Sue website.
Yeah. And I think, and we've been, certainly paying attention, and there are lots of people doing sort of cooking demos. I wanted to just wait a minute and kind of enter that space in a differentiated way. So, we are probably going to be doing some live cooking demos to coincide with the boxes that we're releasing. So we just released the excellent adventure. So it's all about different egg recipes. It's really fun. And so we'll probably start cooking from that next week. And then in May, we're actually focusing on heirloom recipes. Again, getting back to this idea of food and family and how food sort of connects families for generations. And we've got some tools that are going to inspire conversations between kids and their parents to talk about those sort of traditional family recipes that have been passed down through the generations and where they come from. We've got this a family food tree project that's part of that whole experience. And so I just feel like it's a really good time to give families the tools to have these conversations and to also think about what food means to them, so that when we are moving past this, that we stay with it. And I really do believe that this is going to change sort of family dynamics around food forever. I really do.
And I love that you're encouraging, with that tree, interaction with the grandparents, because the grandparents are cut off right now. They can't be in contact with their grandkids, and it's heartbreaking. I love this idea of getting on a Zoom call and working on a food family tree. I love it.
Now more than ever, everybody's cooking, many people because they're kind of forced to, but in the future, I hope more people are cooking because they want to. And I think little Sue can help.
Creating the future generation of milk run
Absolutely.
Customers.
I mean, I couldn't make toast when I was that age, and I'm looking at your Vietnamese noodle soup. It's incredible.
Well, yeah, people need this skill. I mean, this touches every single person on the planet at some point. And we've seen access to culinary education declining year over year over year. It's down 40% in the last decade. But we're getting busier and busier. And so people are, of course, reaching for convenient foods that happen to be processed a lot of times. And it's making us less healthy. It's making us less connected. But I think, honestly, this forced time at home, I really do feel like it's not that people didn't know that and didn't value family meals or, healthy food. But, this sort of time that we're forced to be at home, we have a lot of time to think, and we have a lot of time to think about what's important. And I really do feel like people are really waking up to this idea. And so I'm excited, about what it means for our future. I mean, obviously it's terrible right now and for so many reasons, but, perhaps it's one of the silver linings.
Oh, I love that as a note to end on. Thank you, Kelly. I think it's time for our figurative dessert course now, where we each share something interesting that we've been enjoying this week. So did you all bring a little dessert item, quote unquote dessert item, to share with our listeners, something foodie or drinky you've been enjoying over the past week? Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I don't have anything that's like new and hip. In fact, I'm going back to like many things that are old. But one thing that I have been power watching is sort of all things Dave Chang on Netflix. So I power watched all of the Ugly Delicious episodes, but I'm really into the breakfast, lunch, and dinner episodes on Netflix. So if you haven't seen Dave Chang, check him out.
Great recommendation. How about you, Ted? What have you been up to this week?
Well, comfort food has been pretty comforting over the last several weeks, and we've had our share of fried chicken and mac and cheese and things. I'm suggesting people give yourself a treat and open up that special bottle of wine you've been hoarding, for example. I know on our next milk run order, I'm eyeballing this Ethiopian coffee. And, for $15, there's a reason to smile every morning for a whole week.
I like it.
And as far as what I've been watching, Gabe Rucker's cooking videos are, you can't take your eye off them. They're fantastic.
They're amazing.
And Gabe, so let's explain to our listeners, Gabe Rucker is the chef of Le Pigeon in Portland. And so what handle are those under? Do you happen to know offhand?
You can see them on his Instagram feed live, but if you miss them live, there's a YouTube channel, and I believe it's called Cooking with the Ruckers. It's fantastic. The kids are running around the kitchen. I mean, it's as real as it gets.
Oh, fantastic. So we'll post that on our social media streams as well. Thank you. Julia, do you have a dessert item to recommend to everyone?
Yes, green garlic. So I love green garlic. Also something we get a lot of questions about, but we've been eating a lot of just grilled green garlic on some grano sourdough bread. Just goes great in everything, and it's beautiful and super fragrant. And yeah, we do a lot of barbecues here at the depot and just throw those sorts of vegetables on.
Oh, yeah.
So my dessert course is that I am bursting with pride for our audio editor and house musician, Keelan King. Keelan was chosen by an LA rap producer to be on a single called Social Distancing. If you are a rap fan, or even if you aren't, you've got to buy the digital album for $2 because all proceeds go to No Kid Hungry, which is just so cool. I just bought my Keelan performance on Social Distancing at bandcamp.com. It's really easy. You just have to type in the name of the producer. It's No Mercy, and it's KNOMERCY, all one word. And the first track that comes up is Social Distancing. So buy it, play it, enjoy it. Listen to Keelan. He's awesome. And every time you listen, you're supporting No Kid Hungry. So we're feeling very proud. And I think we'll play this on our outro. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, amazing panelists, as we try to record over a new platform. Thank you, Kelly Montoya, founder and CEO of Little Sue, a company that brings kids' cooking school right to your kitchen. Ted Farthing, owner and president of Fresh and Wild Specialty Foods, supplying rare ingredients to accomplished cooks and professional chefs. And Julia Niiro, founder and CEO of Milk Run, a fresh, organic, locally sourced online food delivery platform. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine.
Today's episode of The Foretop was recorded in the high-fiber, protein-packed city of Portland, Oregon, in my closet and everyone else's closet. Izzy Kramer is our tireless producer. Keelan King is now a total rap star. He's also our editor and composed and performed our theme music. Special thanks to the web staff at OPB who bring our show to life on the Oregon Public Broadcasting website, as well as to sound supervisor Stephen Cray. You can check out our dedicated website, theforetop.org, to learn more about us, listen to back episodes, donate to the show, and reach out to us on social media. And if you've not already subscribed to The Foretop on iTunes, NPR One, or Spotify, please help us out and do so by leaving a rating. I am your host, Catherine Cole, and I'm so excited to go sign up for Milk Run now. Bye-bye.
Let's just wait for Kanye to tweet that he got corona.
Yo, I hope you got some meat in the back or a backpack with snacks and an ice pack and some cognac. Matter of fact, you got the brew flu or cataracts. To get a taste from a test costs as much as a Cadillac. A lot of like is about to revert to the wolf pack. Nobody told you the rat race was a track in the lab, black. You quarantine and you can scream till your throat strap. It ain't gonna change a thing, remain a king, no hotep. To be thinking that we living in the world where every boy and girl got